What's up, guys? Welcome to This Week in the NFL, Week 16. It is our Week 16 preview. We are really winding down now, second to last week of the season. And, there's still some teams that are fighting for playoff spots, but now, we have more and more games that it's just like two dead teams. So we have some really interesting games, but then we have some games that,
literally mean nothing.
Yeah, I could not care less about, except only for draft implications.
Yeah.
But this week, we have 5 games different. Kind of a lot comparatively. We usually have somewhere around like 3 or so. So, 5's kind of a lot. I have the Browns over the Ravens. I have the Colts over the Panthers. The Falcons over Jacksonville. And then San Francisco over LA. And finally, Washington over New York. So, how are you feeling about those?
I'm feeling pretty solid about all of them, to be honest with you.
Even the Rams.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, so
the Rams I'm definitely feeling a little less confident about. But.
Yeah, I think the 49ers might end the Rams this week. I think that might be it. That's going to be a good game because, the Rams, they need the Vikings to lose out, which obviously it's possible that they lose this week against the Packers.
It is, yeah.
But, more unlikely they lose next week. I think they play the Lions or the Bears. So
okay.
I can't remember who. But so the Rams will still have some fight in them, but I think the 49ers probably got that. And then, games like Jacksonville, Atlanta, and Carolina, Indianapolis are the exact games that we were just talking about, where it's 4 teams that are middling teams. They were, they're somewhere between 4 and 7 wins, 4 and 8 wins. I think 7 actually covers it though. Yeah. But their seasons are over. They're playing for their coach for next year, for whatever. So I don't really know who's going to win those games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have no clue how the guys are going to play. But moving on to some games that do matter. My first game of the week, I have Cowboys at Eagles. This is a game that we've been talking about for a long time, for many weeks out. I'm sure both teams had that one circled. This is pretty much for the East because both teams are 7-7. If the Cowboys win, it's theirs. Week 17 doesn't matter. But if the Eagles win, they have to beat the Giants
next week.
Yes, next week, and the Cowboys would have to also beat the Redskins, which neither of those. I think both of those are pretty likely to happen. So most likely, winner takes the East. I predicted that it would be the Eagles at the start of the year. I want to stay with the Eagles, but it's really hard after the Cowboys came in and did what they just did to the Rams.
Yeah.
And I had to watch the Eagles barely beat the Redskins.
Yeah.
So, I really don't. I'm very conflicted on this game. I said it's in Philly. I want the Eagles to win. I think they're a better. I don't think they're a better team. I think their coach is better. So I think that they're a better overall team. You know what I mean? The Cowboys have more talent. That is for sure. The Eagles don't have a playmaker that sniffs Zeke Elliott or Amari Cooper. They really don't.
No.
Miles Sanders has been good, and he'll be one of
he's getting better.
And he'll be one of the X factors in this game. Where if take some weight off Carson Wentz's shoulders, but at the end of the day, I think this game is on Carson Wentz's shoulders because the Eagles secondary stinks. They gave up 37 to Dallas last time, but the Eagles only scored 10. So, obviously you're not expected to win when you give up 37, but they weren't going to win anyway. They only scored 10 points.
Right. So
Carson Wentz needs to come out and needs to play a good game. They got to, they have to, I think they almost have to get up early on him. And Dak has been throwing a lot more this year. He doesn't he doesn't need Zeke the way he did in years past where they kind of needed the run to set him up. He's been much better this year.
Yeah.
Dak has had a better year than Carson Wentz, and now he kind of has to prove it. He has to, this is the final step. This year everyone's talking about how Dak has gotten better, he's been improving, and now he has to go into his divisional rival's place. And needs to beat him. This is essentially a playoff game.
Yeah, no, definitely is.
And if Dak is going to be that franchise guy, he has to win these.
Oh, I agree.
So,
this is even a big thing for Carson Wentz as well because Nick
same
Foles
thing.
isn't here for the first time. He's finishing a year healthy for the first time since I don't even know.
Yeah, if they did make the playoffs this year, it would be the third straight year the Eagles made the playoffs, but the first year that Carson Wentz hopefully would.
He's here at the end of the year to help him.
Yeah,
so this will be big and kind of change that narrative too because I know people like to clown on him for not being able to win, but. Moving on to my first game of the week, I have the Bills and the Patriots, which is arguably the biggest game of the week, minus the Packers and Vikings on Monday. This is also one of the first games that'll be happening on Saturday. There's 3 games, I think, slated on Saturday this week, with this being the middle game. There's no more Thursday games, of course, since we didn't do one of our videos, sadly. But this game is the first double-digit win season that the Bills have had since 1999, which is kind of ridiculous. I was 1 year old the last time they won 10 or more games.
That is pretty ridiculous.
And then obviously you have the Patriots, who are coming off their huge win against Cincinnati last week after losing the last 2. I mean, you can't really argue that they should have won that game. They definitely were expected to win that. So, Tom Brady's continued to struggle too, of course.
He really has.
I was one of those dudes defending him at the beginning, a couple weeks ago, where it's like maybe it's the receivers, because they're not on their timing. Tom Brady's hanging on the ball too long. And then you watch them play against Cincy, and it's like, this man's missing downfield throws. He missed somebody wide open in the end zone.
He just looked a little off.
He doesn't look like Brady, He's starting not to look like Brady. It's starting to worry me a little bit, because I've kind of learned, come to love Brady. But I know, you don't like it. It's whatever. But the Bills come into this game still with a chance to win the AFC East,
which is
not very likely.
Ridiculous.
It is ridiculous because nobody's really touched the Patriots since 2008 when the Dolphins took the East, which is kind of weird to say the Dolphins won the East. But the Bills still have a path. Like I said, it's not very likely. They have to win this week and they have to win next week against the Jets, and then the Patriots need to lose next week to the Dolphins, which probably won't happen.
Maybe Miami Miracle 2.0. Maybe that's how Buffalo does it.
We'll see. But with all that being said, I think the Patriots come into this game and they defend their home turf and get this one done.
Do you think it's a really close game, or
I do think it's a close game. Last time it was a close game.
A statement?
Last game it was a close game in Buffalo. I think this time in New England it's going to be just as close.
All right, because I will be. If the Patriots came out and they blew the doors off the Bills, I would just be like, wow. Well, this
would be the most Patriots thing ever.
This is still going on. This would be just when everyone, this is the year that everyone, like we say every year that it might be the end of the Patriots dynasty.
Yeah, they lose like a game or two.
And it never is.
Yeah.
And if they come out and, as I said, they just blow the doors off the Bills, they destroy them, Tom Brady throws for 4 TDs, I wouldn't be surprised, but I would just be, it would be, I don't know. I don't even know. I would just be like, how do they keep doing this? And Brady has to get bad at some point. Like, he has to actually be not as good of a quarterback at some point.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is it. I really don't know.
We're definitely getting a sneak peek of it, but, I mean, if he comes out and, like you said, just has, like, an amazing game, I'd be more shook than anything. Like, if they came out and they blew him out, I'd maybe think, it's because the defense caused, like, 5 turnovers or something.
Yeah.
They scored a couple times or something. But if Tom Brady came out and threw for, like, 350 yards, completed over 50% of his passes for the first time since, like, I don't even know.
Yeah. And I'm waiting for the N'Keal Harry, 7 catches for 180 and 2 TDs.
Yeah.
Like, I'm waiting. I know it's going to happen.
Someone's going to go off.
Yeah, and the more and more likely it gets that it hasn't happened yet, it's going to happen in the playoffs. That's the way the Patriots are. That's the way they work. I'm on your side that they win. I just don't know how they're going to do it, But moving on to our bowl games of the week.
Our second games.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah. All right, well, we're going to keep going with our games of the week, though. Got a little excited, but we have my second game is Vikings-Packers. The Packers got to go to Minnesota. We usually don't talk about the spreads in this segment, but Vikings are 5.5-point favorites, which is kind of crazy to me. They're at home versus the Packers, but I don't think this game's, necessarily a coin flip, but I could definitely see either of the teams winning.
I agree. I think I was actually kind of surprised when we were going through the spreads and I saw -5.5 too, because
Vikings are at home. They obviously have been very good this year. I understand them being the favorite, but I think anything over 3 is a little crazy.
I get that the Packers defense has been a little shaky at times, but
and that's one of the main reasons I really don't know what we're going to get in this game, because we always talk about Kirk Cousins in primetime. But he's back at home for this primetime game. He was able to go to California and win last week.
Yeah, and they were like -1.5 over there, which is why I'm even more confused. They blew the doors off the Chargers.
That's weird. Yeah, They really think the Vikings got some home field advantage.
Yeah, I guess so.
But
or they're just riding high off that blowout last week.
Very possible.
Yeah.
It's very possible. Because I think, the Packers are also a weird team where, has Aaron Rodgers looked his best this year? No. But has he looked really good at times? Is he still Aaron Rodgers? Is it hard for me to see him not being as good? It is. Yeah. But he still has been really good. Just not to the standard we hold him to.
Yeah.
And I think that this Green Bay defense is going to be what makes the difference, because it's under the lights in the dome. The Vikings are they're going to come out, they're going to be throwing. Dalvin Cook's a little banged up. I don't even know if he's going to be playing.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's going to be playing.
I'm not sure if he is either, but I mean, if he does or if he doesn't, he's still either a little banged up or he's not there. And it's going to come to if the Packers can pass rush on Kirk Cousins and if they can force him into turnovers. The Smiths, Za'Darius, and Preston have been really good this year.
Yeah,
a lot of people were mad Za'Darius didn't make the Pro Bowl. And now they got to go prove it. They got to go show, like, hey, listen, our defense hasn't looked good in some games, but we can still do this, because they have looked good at times.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And then, obviously, we know what this Vikings defense is. They're very good. They're suffocating. Everson Griffin's a monster. The Kendricks is a beast. So the Packers will just need to get Aaron Jones going. He's kind of slowed down recently. I was really high on him earlier in the year. It seemed like he was kind of making plays just every time he touched the ball, slowing down a little bit. Obviously, the Packers' offenses look better now that Devontae Adams has been back and stuff.
Right, of course.
And it's hard for me not to pick the Packers here. I picked the Vikings in my original picks. I think I'm going to stay with the Vikings here, actually.
Yeah,
because
I think I'm going with the Vikings too.
I think this is a little different of a Kirk Cousins. Like, I don't know what's going to happen once we get to the playoffs and he has to go on, the road or something.
Yeah.
But at home in the Dome, I'm feeling pretty good about Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how Kirk Cousins is kind of just, like, shifted. Or like he's slowly starting to shift his narrative, Like he's had a really good season this year, and I'll be actually really excited to watch how he does on Monday.
Yeah, and Monday night is the perfect time.
Yeah,
to do
exactly,
it,
and he has those
cap off the week.
The primetime woes that he has too. This would be a really good chance against a division opponent. Would they be able to jump the Packers if they win this game?
So I don't know how the tiebreakers work, but they'd have the same record, so they would.
Okay.
I feel like it would have to work out that way that they would jump them, but I'm not entirely sure.
All right. Well, moving on to my second game of the week, I'm jumping from arguably one of the best games to definitely the worst game. I'm going with the Bengals and the Dolphins in the Suck Bowl. Could have argued that was last week with the Giants and the Dolphins, but we won't talk about that.
This is the official
This
one.
is the official Suck Bowl. This has been on everybody's calendar for weeks now. I'm pretty excited about this. I'm really hoping that the Bengals can come out and win this game just for the Giants' draft positioning. I chose this game because of the draft positioning, Cape probabilities, and all that stuff. If the Bengals or if the Dolphins can lose this game, it'll help them with getting the second pick or in getting towards getting the second pick. And then the Bengals, I think if they lose this game, they lock up the one pick, don't they?
Yes, because the Dolphins would have 4 wins, the Bengals would have 1. There'd be 1 game.
Yeah,
left.
Giants would have 3. Yeah,
no teams have 2.
Yep. So personally, I want the Bengals to win, but overall, I'm honestly not sure who's going to pull out with this. I would think the Dolphins, just because Ryan Fitzpatrick just pulls stuff out of his butt every once in a while.
Yeah, in a matchup of 2 bad teams, I take Ryan Fitzpatrick over the other bad.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean the Dolphins have more wins, but by like 2. So
they're
they've just looked better in their losses at times.
Yeah,
I mean,
you can.
you can.
Yeah, I mean they've both been pretty awful teams, so I would
Yeah.
definitely give you that.
Yeah.
I mean this game is obviously. It's another one of the games we talked about where they've both been dead for 5 weeks, 6 weeks.
Pretty much since the midway point of the season.
Yeah, they've both been eliminated for a while,
Yeah.
especially the Bengals. And the Bengals fans are probably hoping to lose. I mean, like it gets to the point where locking up the number 1 overall pick is more important.
Mm-hmm.
They can get Joey Burrow, their guy. They can get Chase Young.
Yeah, hopefully not. But
Yeah. Hopefully not for you. You don't want Burrow.
no.
Also, I think that the only way the Vikings win the North is if the Packers lose this week and next week.
Oh, well. All right.
And they play the Lions, so
All right.
not looking very good because
with Matthew Stafford out for the year.
that's according to the ESPN playoff machine. So if I'm wrong, it's not my fault.
If I'm wrong, it's not my fault.
The Packers stay in the 3 seed according to this. So
All right. Well.
All right. But that it?
Yeah. No. Yeah. That's it. That's it.
Yeah. Pretty. Can't wait for that game.
Yeah. I'm
But
so excited.
Now, actually moving on to our bowl games of the week, we have there's I think like 8 or 9 between tomorrow and next Tuesday, or today and next Tuesday.
Yeah.
So we got a decent amount of games that are coming up. Some of them good, some of them bad. We're gonna highlight a couple of the ones that are good. The first one. I don't even want to try to say this, but the Cheribundi Boca Raton Bowl, or I don't know, but I don't know what Cheribundi is.
Maybe? I don't know. Whatever.
You probably said it more right than me, but it is FAU versus SMU. SMU are 3-point favorites, and these teams have had pretty different seasons. FAU came out and got destroyed the first 2 weeks of the year by Ohio State and UCF, and then they beat a bunch of Conference USA teams, winning 10 of their last 11 to finish 10-3. Pretty good. They're having a decent year. Their quarterback, Chris Robison's having a good year. And then SMU, on the other hand, started out 8-0 and has gone 2-2 down the stretch to get to 10-2 as well. They were ranked for the majority of the year. And their only 2 losses, I think I am going to take them in this game, and this is why, is because their only 2 losses were a 6-point loss to Memphis and a 7-point loss to Navy, who are 2 pretty good teams.
I mean, they're both ranked.
Yeah, and the American, it's a better conference. SMU is playing better opponents every week compared to FAU. Lane Kiffin's last game at FAU, I'm not sure how dialed in his coaches are to crappy bowl games when they're leaving. So I'm thinking I'm going to take SMU, and I think, I don't know by how much. I think it'll be a pretty close game because, as I said, Robison's good for FAU. They have pretty good defense, and they've looked really good. I mean, they looked good against the Conference USA teams. They played good, but they just don't really have a signature win. And SMU beat number 25 TCU, who obviously wasn't very good. They don't have an amazing win, but I just feel like SMU's resume is a little better.
Yeah, I'd probably go with SMU as well. Moving on to my first bowl game. Number 19 Boise State against Washington in the Mitsubishi Motors Las Vegas Bowl.
Wow.
Boise State comes to this game 12-1. They won the Mountain West, and then Washington is 7-5. Definitely not one of their best seasons, especially for their standards. Because usually, I mean, they were in the playoffs a couple of years ago, so you'd pretty much try to expect that they'd stay ranked.
Yeah, and they had, and with Jacob Eason too. They had pretty high expectations.
Exactly. So Boise State's only loss came in Week 7 against BYU. BYU is kind of like a tough opponent this year. Knocked off USC and Boise as well. They just came and ruined a couple of teams' seasons. Washington, on the other hand, has lost to California, Stanford, Oregon and Utah in back-to-back weeks, and then also Colorado, I think, like the week before the season finale. So, yeah, not very good. Not very. And the Pac-12 has also had a pretty down year as well. But some people you can watch out for, though, is Washington's tackle Trey Adams, and also, like you just said, quarterback Jacob Eason. If for those of you who don't know, he used to be the starter in Georgia before he transferred because of Jake Fromm.
Yes.
So that'll be someone to look out for. He's draft eligible. For Boise, you can keep out for Curtis Weaver. Curtis Weaver's an edge rusher. You could argue he can maybe slip in the first round, but who knows? But I think Boise comes to this game and honestly wins it pretty handily. In the past, they've always done pretty well in bowl games against top-tier teams. Yeah, and the Oklahoma Fiesta Bowl and all that stuff. So I like Boise. They're not one of those, like, non-Power 5 teams that comes in and just gets beat up on, They're like I mean, honestly, you could argue they should be in a bigger conference at this point just because they can actually compete with the big teams. Yeah, if TCU was able to move out of the Mountain West, I don't see why Boise wasn't able to. I agree. Kind of weird. But and that's why I do like bowl games, though, is because you got, like, that... like where the small school with a really good record versus the Power 5 school with an average record. It's like what would that small school's record be if they played the Power 5 teams every week? Right. And would Boise State's record be around, 8-4, 7-5? I could see it. But it definitely wouldn't be 12-1 every year. Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, until maybe once they start getting the Pac-12 recruits and all that, like I don't know exactly how it works. I could definitely see him moving over to the Pac-12 and doing some damage, honestly. Especially with as down as the Pac-12's been recently. Yeah, and that'd be a cool boost for the Pac-12. It would. Because you got the blue turf and like Boise's like a cool team. Yeah, cool, interesting little team. Yeah, but cool, interesting little team. But moving on to my other bowl game, the R&L Carriers Bowl. The R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl. Can't forget that part. We have number 20 Appalachian State 12-1 versus UAB 9-4. App State is 17-point favorites. Everyone remembers UAB, I'm sure. Their program got the death penalty. Or not the death penalty. They just shut down. They just shut down. They weren't forced to shut down, but they killed themselves. Yeah. And then they're now back, and they went 9-4. So that's honestly pretty impressive. Their first season back? No, I think second or third. Okay. But I don't really know how that's possible, but good for them. I mean, that's pretty impressive. Yeah. But I don't think the season's going to end very well.
Appalachian State has been really good this year. They got 2 Power 5 wins over North and South Carolina, which is honestly pretty embarrassing on those schools' parts.
Yeah.
And then they just dominated the rest of the Sun Belt. They really they had 1 loss to Georgia Southern, pretty big loss on their record, but that's one of the better Sun Belt teams. So it's not like it could have been worse.
Yeah.
It's not like they didn't lose. It's not like they lost to like their equivalent of like Rutgers. They lost to their equivalent of like Iowa.
Yeah.
So other than that loss, as I said, really good year. UAB, they're 9-4, but they don't really have a good win. They only played 1 Power 5 team. It was Tennessee. They lost 30-7. And Tennessee's not a very good Power 5 team in general.
Yeah.
And they also got destroyed 49-6 by FAU in the conference championship. So I'm taking Appalachian State pretty easy. I like their quarterback, Zach Thomas.
I like their quarterback actually a lot.
That's a pretty easy. I think Appalachian State.
Yeah, no disagreements from me. My other bowl game that I have is the Bad Boy Mowers Gasparilla Bowl. I've never heard of this bowl game in my life, so it must be new.
That is a crazy name.
This game is going to be between UCF, who's 9-3, and Marshall, who's 8-4. This game kind of stuck out to me just because UCF's in it, and this is featuring a UCF team that has officially ended their dominant run as fake national champs and beating up on Auburn in bowl games. Sad to see it come to an end, but like all good things, they must come to an end at some point. They've lost 3 games this year, like I said. They lost to Pittsburgh, Cincy, and Tulsa. Pittsburgh was, Cincy was actually pretty good, so we'll give them that one, and then Tulsa was not good. So.
Yeah.
Kind of season. They didn't have Mackenzie Milton though at quarterback this entire season.
I don't even know how that works.
I'm not really. I thought he was a senior last year when he broke his leg.
His injury is pretty horrific.
It was pretty bad. So I think he might be able to return next year. He did his senior walk and everything out for his final home game, but I also heard he might be able to come back. So I'm not really sure what's going on with that one. But their current quarterback Dylan Gabriel has been very good this season for the Knights. He's had 3,400 passing yards, which I think is tied for 12th. I think I said earlier.
Yeah.
12th in the country. And then 27 pass TDs and only 7 picks. Pretty solid year. You can keep an eye on him for future drafts, but for right now. His receiver, Gabriel Davis, is on some radars. And then for Marshall, they have lost to Boise State, Colorado, Middle Tennessee, and Charlotte. Charlotte is a bowl eligible team. Not really sure if Middle Tennessee is. I think they are.
I don't know.
Cincy obviously is a good loss, and Boise is a good loss as well.
Yeah. They also beat FAU.
Beat FAU. They don't really have anybody that really stands out to me draft-wise. But I think UCF goes into this and wins in a landslide.
All right,
I think the spread was minus 17 or something. I could be wrong.
Yeah,
but I thought
I was kind of surprised they didn't let UCF get a little tougher of an opponent. Just
because they've always been
just because they like at least throw them against I mentioned them earlier, but a team like Iowa,
against a crappy SEC team or something.
Like a pretty decent Power 5 team.
Yeah.
But all right, real quick, gonna do our total locks of the week.
Yep.
I got Texans -3 versus Bucks. I think the Buccaneers still aren't very good. I don't care if they're 7-7. If the Texans don't win this game, they don't deserve to be in the playoffs. I think they're better than this. If they lose, I'm gonna be really mad. And then Chiefs -6 at Bears. The Bears got eliminated last week. I think they're gonna be kind of down. I talked before, team coming off being eliminated. I don't know how hard they're gonna play. The Chiefs are still fighting for playoff positioning. They've been looking better in recent weeks. I think the Chiefs get that done easy too.
Yeah, I can't really. It's not like they're trying to play season spoiler or anything for the Chiefs either.
Yeah,
it's the Chiefs are in the playoffs.
Yeah, and they don't care about the Chiefs.
Yeah, exactly. So, my first pick, I have the Falcons -7 at the Jags. I was kind of having trouble finding what spreads I wanted to take this week, but I kind of like this -7 against the Jags just because I feel like the Falcons have the capabilities to do it. Because they've come out and they've blown out, the Panthers, and then they got to win against the Saints. So it's they definitely...
The Niners.
And the Niners, yeah. Surprise win against the Niners last week. So it's they definitely have the capability of playing well, which is why I'm okay with taking the -7 against the Jags. But,
yeah,
we'll see how that one goes.
The Jags
I'm kind of just taking
the Jags have just looked awful.
Yeah, the Jags have looked awful on top of that. And then the second game I have is the Saints -2 against the Titans. I've been big on the Saints all year. I have them in the Super Bowl. I had Sean Payton as my coach of the year, Drew Brees MVP, which is not going to happen.
Yeah.
But I like -2. I think that the Saints. I think the Saints are at home. I could be tweaking. But actually, let me see.
No,
It's on the road.
You know, it's in
Don't
Tennessee.
care. Don't care. I think this. I like the Saints. I like the Saints -2.
Yeah, I think that loss to the Texans would maybe demoralize Titans a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, they still have a chance to get
The
in
one
playoffs,
thing I am
we'll
worried
see.
about, though, I will say, is just how hot Ryan Tannehill's been, and then Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
I don't know how the Saints' run defense will be against Derrick Henry, but
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I still like that pick. I think this.
I do too. No, I still like it too, but I think Derrick Henry would be the main reason they don't cover.
All right, guys. With that, messed that up there. But with that, guys, that is it. Our longest show ever, actually. So sorry about that. Or thank you for that, or you're welcome for that. Whatever.
know.
But
Whichever one.
be sure to like and subscribe, and we will see you guys next week.
See you.